let's take a minute to talk about the top round. Here we have a full top round. We still have the cap and the side muscles on. You could order what they call a Cosmo top round, which would be cap off, side muscles off, which would be higher yielding. But we're going to go ahead and break this down to showcase some different cuts that you can get off of the entire top round. So our first step will be to trim this fat away so that way we can see the cap off that top round. Next, we're going to trim off this discoloration here and some bone fell that's sitting right here. This actually occurs from the carcass wash that happens on the harvest floor. So you always want to make sure that we remove that because it's just the hot water that's cooking the meat on the outside. So now what we're going to do is remove this cap that's right here, top round cap. This is also known as the gracilis or the Santa Fe steak. So just get the tip of your knife underneath and you pull really gently and open up that seam. Okay, so now that we have the cap removed, this is what you'd consider a Cosmo top round or cap off, side muscle off. Now here, we're going to remove some of this fat and remove those side muscles to get down to our Santa Fe steak or our top round cap. Going to go ahead and trim off the silver skin on this. This is that gracilis or top round cap or Santa Fe steak. This has the same muscle fibers stripes that you'd find in a skirt steak or sirloin flap. So one way that you could market this is by cutting this into more pieces that are like this, and you could go ahead and slice this thin for fajita meat, or you could sell it like this whole, but just make sure that the customer knows to slice that against the grain. Now we're going to work on these side muscles a little bit to pull some different cuts out. One of them would just be used for stew meat. The other one is known as a round petite tender, and although it's not a very popular cut, it is a tender cut. This would simply be used for stew. And that would be that round petite tender. Now to work on the Cosmo top round. I'm going to go ahead and remove just a little bit of the silver skin that's still left on here. You might find this on your Cosmo if you do order it that way. And now traditionally, this would just be cut into roasts or steaks by cutting straight back like this. However, I like to flip this, and you could find a seam that sits between this muscle and this muscle right here. It's where there's usually a large piece of fat. A lot of times people will come in and scoop this fat out before cutting any roasts or steaks, but I like to go ahead and seam this apart. Just kind of use the tip of your knife and follow down and around to the table. And trim this up just a little bit. Now we have this piece and this one. And you can see right here, this is a big reason that I like to separate it, is because you have this big blood vessel that's running right through here. And it's not very eye appealing to the consumer. So I like to come in and cut this out just by following it down. And then you can utilize that as stew. We could take this and cut it into some steaks. In this piece, you now have all those muscle fibers running in one direction right here. So you can take this and cut some roast or London broils out of here. So I'll start off by cutting a roast, kind of face the front of this, like that. And then you could go ahead and cut the traditional London broils. Now these will fit a little bit nicer at a package. They're more manageable size to work with. Now these are the cuts that you can get from ordering a cap off, side muscle off, top round. But if you get the cap on, side muscle on, you can get these additional cuts to add a little bit more variety to your case. The option's up to you. But notice how we've packaged these in the black trays to add the premium quality to the premium beef. We also are using that full color logo so that way the consumer can recognize the brand every time they make a purchase. We also need to make sure that the full certified Angus beef name is on your scale label. Now remember, the most important part, if it's not certified, it's not the best. Now scan the code or visit certifiedangusbeef.com to get more labels or this merchandising sheet and more. And that's your Certified Angus Beef Meat Minutes.